Always fresh and a little bit sticky. Keep it down, cannabis wiki. We're always fresh and a little bit sticky. The green room on cannabis wiki.
We'd like to welcome Mendo Medical, Jay, to the program. And what do we...
And we're going to talk about, first of all, you had a press release that just came out not too long ago. And that's because medical, I mean, a lot of they're closing down, they're going under, things coming. You've partnered with, you didn't partner with, you took over, was it all existing patients that had nowhere to go?
Yeah, we helped ease the transition of medical patients from first Shelter Marketplace at the end of January. And then 7 days later, CanMart reached out to us for the same thing. And we're in a good position to be able to really help move those patients over to a new platform with zero gaps in their patient care. It was a seamless transition. Really happy with the way that things went. And we're happy that they chose us.
Zero gaps in the patient care. Does that mean, because I'll tell a personal story, I have Crohn's. When you have a flare-up, I need my stuff today or tomorrow, but not 7 to 13 days from now. Was that what you meant? Like, you continued, people got their medicine without any sort of break in the care, like it was being treated like real medicine that we need?
Yeah, and we take your medicine very seriously. So shipping times are very important to patients, and having the products that they become loyal to and that work for them and have the desired effects on their body. We need to make sure that those products are always in stock and available and, easily accessible. And that's something that's really important to us. And that's something that we try to strive to do for our patients.
Well, you have passion for patients. Are you a patient yourself?
I have been. I've been a patient since 2012. Medical cannabis, just with my family, and has a really close place in my heart. And there were certain gaps in the medical market, we'll use that word again, that needed to be filled. And that's why we started Mendo Medical. Yeah,
Jay, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about how Mendo Medical helps patients, just so our viewers know.
Yeah, we're an LP, and our official LP name is Medicibus. And we have a 25,000 square foot cultivation facility just about 15 minutes from downtown Montreal. And we have certain SKUs with the SQDC, and we'll be putting stuff into the OCS and into Alberta in the next quarter. But as you might know, there's regulations against the sale of edibles and topicals and THC content over 30% and extracts and vapes, all sought after products that you can't get in Quebec. And when we launched Mendo, only just in September, we had launched only in Quebec to provide those sought after products to medical patients who were shopping at the SQDC, who didn't have easy access to medical care. It was very difficult in Quebec to get a medical document with your own doctor. It was something that was almost frowned upon. Making it easy and streamlined for patients in Quebec or anywhere in the country to be able to meet a doctor, get signed up, register with Mendo, and within 24 hours be able to place orders is something that we really hang our hat on and really.
So that's true. It is within 24 hours, they can get their prescription filled and their medicine on their way. Like it's seamless.
Yeah. We kind of say, within 20 clicks on our website, and we don't want to be facetious or arrogant when we say that, but we're very good at what we do, and we work
You're
with
allowed to say that.
vast amount of doctors who care very much about medical cannabis, and they fill out an intake form on our website. You would just click obtain your medical documents. You'd fill in the intake form, schedule the appointment with the doctor on the calendar on the website, and then you're going to receive a call, and you'll have a telemedicine interview with the intake nurse, and then if needed, speak with the doctor directly. And then the medical document is faxed over to our facility, and we can then approve your account to place orders. So it usually happens within 24 hours. Yeah.
Usually happens within 24 hours.
So
I've never had it happen.
Are you available only in Quebec, or can Ontario residents take part in that or no?
We are coast to coast now.
Okay.
Last November, we decided to kind of open the floodgates. We were ready and more prepared to be able to give the quality of care to thousands of people as opposed to a few hundred when we first started, and really getting our shipping procedures down and curating that menu. And that's really what sets Mendo apart. We've curated a menu of not only the most sought after products from across the country, but products that have been specifically chosen for our medical community based on a various amount of different factors and data that we've been able to collect over time. So when you go on to Mendo, you're going to see products that are only available in BC or only available in Alberta or Quebec or Ontario, all in that one-stop shop at really accessible pricing.
So cheaper than we would find it the OCS, which is our version of what do you call it in Quebec?
SQDC.
Yeah, we have the OCS, so it would be cheaper. Yeah. Or like if we go to a recreational dispensary to buy the oil or whatever we need, it's cheaper at Mendo, a better price.
I think the majority of products that you're going to find are going to be cheaper than you can find in your government stores or brick and mortars. But because of some of the private stores and they have more access to play with pricing and price things a little bit lower, right. We can't guarantee every product, but
what do you mean by private stores?
Yeah, I prefer private stores as well, and I wish that was something.
No, I'm asking you, what do you mean by that?
Private-owned stores, not government-owned stores, like a High Variety in Toronto, for example.
Oh, so like not corporate? Store. Oh, soon to be the Ghost Drop store.
Oh, okay.
High Variety, yeah.
So like a mom and pop store.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We also purchase a lot of bulk cannabis. So we have an R&D license. So we bring in bulk cannabis from LPs who don't necessarily have a path to market, whether they're a small micro or having difficulty connecting with the the government buyers that don't have their sales license yet. We'll then bring in samples, and we'll bring in maybe 30 samples a week. And at the end of the week, we'll go to the R&D facility and do a sensory and palatability test on those products.
Palatability test. We're going to start doing some palatability tests.
How can we sign up for that?
Smoking weed. It's a tough job.
Yeah,
and then we'll really grade that flower, and we'll grade it, really strictly, and we'll kind of figure out what we feel is the fair market value for this cannabis. And we'll package it in large formats, in 14 and 28 gram formats, which we find our medical patients are more interested in. And these are the same lots that you find at the OCS or the BC stores for $8 to $14 a gram. With Mendo, in our Mendo Select category, repackaging that in our house brand, you'll find it for $4 to $6 a gram, for example.
Whoa.
So there's a tremendous value there. It also helps those LPs keep their heads above water.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you pay a better price? Like, we know that most of the price from the OCS or from the government stores is tax. And then, the licensed producer is really, their head's not even above water at the price that they're really getting, but they got to stick at it. I'm wondering if you offer a slightly, add on a little bit to help, them be able to grow.
Yeah, for sure. We work very closely with them to set the retail price, and then we work backwards for the price that they need.
Right.
And they're in total control of what that price is.
I love that.
So to be able to do that and get them the money more quickly, every 30 days, they're constantly getting paid. So it's a constant revenue stream. So they don't have to worry about packaging something in January that's only going to hit the OCS in June, for example. And that product gets older. And, so the freshness quality of product that's brought into Mendo, that's a bonus for our patients as well.
Wow.
So you'll see packaging dates in February, for example.
Right.
When you purchase them in March, or even sometimes just a week old, because it's packaged and then sent directly to us.
So being a patient at Mendo is actually supporting the growers.
That's what I want our legacy to be, and we're kind of defined by who we do business with. And more importantly, we're defined by who we don't do business with. There's certain companies out there that have our same sensibilities, our same ethos. We want to support them, especially those older legacy brands. And I can't thank companies enough, like Ghost Drops, who gave Mendo a chance to put their products on our site before it even dropped anywhere else. you know, that's something that, you know, every time I speak with them, I'm just constantly thanking them that they did that for us. And I can name others like, you know, like Next Friday and Lot 420 and these really sought after products that medical patients never had an access to.
Right. They never
have access to that high quality cannabis.
They didn't even know they existed. So I've spoken to consultants and nurses who tell me all the time how greatly appreciative they are to Mendo, because you bring smaller or unheard of, or the people that don't, stuff that the patients actually need or asking for or want, you will make it available. So even if they couldn't get in the OCS or they couldn't get, you can get in touch with that, and Mendo will help bring you to the patients.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, and that was from when I was doing a little bit of research, that was like from the community. They're saying like they work within this whole ecosystem, you know, they're very particular with the growers, and then making sure that if it's medicine, that it needs to be fresh and safe and the price is important. Like they're hitting it on all the, you know, like we've talked to a lot of people in cannabis. We've talked to a lot of corporate cannabis, government cannabis, whatever we're regulated, we're calling it. But a lot of times founders and CEOs don't come on here and talk about the whole passion of why they're in the cannabis space and what they're doing in the cannabis space to make it better. Not just to...
Well, just like when we were out at Greenway a couple weeks ago, and, you know, we were talking to Jamie and Carl, and they were saying, you know, they just need a little bit more. They just need a little bit more. It's like they're getting paid $3.50 a gram. And then, you know, on the OCS, it's selling for $44 for a pack. And it's like, it seems like Mendo could, you know, give them that little bit more, set the price a little bit, you know, where it's still affordable for the consumer. They're not paying $44. They're paying a reasonable price, but then
the growers are still making money.
They're still making money.
Yeah.
You know, because right now they're not. So it's like, yeah, Mendo sounds great. What else you guys do?
LPs have even been saying to us, you know, we'd like our price to be even lower on Mendo for medical patients. And some of those LPs that, I won't name them, you know, but they've been so generous with what they've been able to do with pricing because of how well they're doing in the rec market, that they're willing to even actually make less on the medical. And then there's the smaller LPs and the micros, the ones who offer the OCS, you know, 500 cases. Right. And then the OCS says, okay, we're only going to take 200. Well, Mendo can come in and we'll take those 300, you know, and we'll put them onto Mendo and offer them to our patients. So that's really what it's all about. And, you know,
this sounds like community. This sounds like taking care of, you know, the community, and the culture of cannabis was originally, to me, I mean, patients brought us to legalization for the most part. And like we're talking about OGs and legacy and all that. This is it's been going on forever and ever. It's too bad that it started to get, you know, the green rash that we sort of, I would say, rape and pillage the whole place. Like, it's just horrible the way things are starting to turn back around. You're starting to challenge, you know, we're creating some change by companies like this coming forward, doing what, you know, listening to what patients are asking for. The market is, and still making money. It's still a business. I mean, I hope you drive up in a Ferrari. That's awesome. But it's about, you know, the patients in the community. And that's what I think Mendo does. Do you have a club?
It's all about the community for Mendo.
Community. Do you have a loyalty program? Do you have clubs? What do you have?
I mean, in terms of the Cannabis Act, you know, there's certain things that we can't do in terms of loyalties and incentives and things like that. But what's more important, what we can do is we can give more personal attention. We can give real-time customer service answers. We can give personal phone calls when someone sends an email to us asking questions. I'll just pick up the phone and I'll call them, you know, and I'll get off the call feeling great. They'll get off the call feeling great. And maybe that's not scalable, and I won't be able to do that for everybody forever. But as we bring on more, you know, personal care team representatives and, you know, they see what this industry really could be.
Yeah.
Medical can still be fun. Medical can still be community. Medical can still be culture. Medical can be all those things. Medical cannabis isn't only about the medicine the effect that it has on your body, but also mentally and spiritually. And if medical cannabis people can come together at Mendo and talk on IG and share videos and jump on our Discord or Facebook or Instagram, that's giving them another person to talk to about medical cannabis. That's healthy.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. That's taking care of the community and the culture. That's, on all levels. You feel like feeding the ecosystem and celebrating all levels of the culture.
Yeah,
We
so
feel all. I keep cutting you off, Derek. Sorry,
it's
but I was
okay.
just going
No problem.
to. I'll end with this, and then you can go. And we feel very strongly about this, and it might sound like a soundbite, and we might have heard this before, but we truly, truly believe all cannabis is medical. Whether you buy it at the SQDC or the OCS, or you buy it at Mendo, or you buy it off your street dealer, you're doing it for a specific effect that you're trying to have on your body. Now, I understand there's a recreational part of it too, but to me, all cannabis is medical, regardless of where you buy it.
Well, feeling good is fun. It's good to be happy. All right.
Okay, so you mentioned that it's 20 clicks and you can sign up. So can you walk me through it? Like, say I'm a patient and I'm looking to sign up. Like, how would I go on your website? And now what's going to happen? I'm going to enter in my information. I would guess, and then is it going to be some kind of like tele doctor or something? If you want to just explain to us how the process goes.
Well, we try to make it as streamlined and as easy for everyone as possible. Not everyone is really computer savvy, and some people really are. When you arrive to Mendo on our homepage, there'll be a lot of information about who we are and what we do and the different benefits of medical cannabis. And you would simply just register an account. And it will take your name and information and a piece of identification for age verification and things like that. And then once you're on the site, before your account is approved, you can still shop around and browse and see what's in there and, go to our, I call our Medical Cannabis University or, Cannabis 101 that talks about different products and consumption methods and all the different categories that are available on Mendo. And when you've decided that medical cannabis is something you'd like to try, you can simply go to the top taskbar and click on Obtain a Medical Document. There's a little bit more information about what a medical document is. Is it a prescription? No. Is it a doctor's recommendation? Yes. At that point, you could simply click on the intake form, and that'll open up on your screen, and it'll ask you some very personal questions. And that's something that's kept private and not online with us. It takes you to another server that's run by the doctors. And none of that information is kept on file at Mendo, and nor any real information. We keep everything offline, and with hackers these days and things like that. We didn't want to have any data loss. With that being said, once you fill out that form and choose the date and time for your consultation, you'll receive a phone call, and it's usually about 5 to 15 minutes to 20 minutes, depending however long you need. And then usually that same evening or the next morning, we'll receive your medical document. The patient will receive their copy and will receive a copy. And I really don't use the word patient in medical. I know it's a term that's used. We call we call them members. I understand it's medical. But for some reason, just the word patient for me just is not something that I'd like to use in the industry, because it's not an actual prescription. It's not a DIN number for products to use. It's medical cannabis for the therapeutic uses. So Mendo members have really easy access to get their medical document or renewed if it is expired from another medical practitioner like Canmart or Shelter that is closed down. We were helping able to renew those medical documents. And of course, there's never any costs for this.
I was just going to ask you, there's no cost to this.
Oh, no. There's never any cost for anything like that. We have seen, clinics out there that do great work that, have brick and mortar stores that have bills to pay, that doctors charge them for their consultations, and they have to charge people to do that. And I understand that. But with Mendo, that's something that we cover the cost for that.
Do you use like an external service like a Hello MD or something like that to facilitate?
Yeah, something very similar to that. Correct.
Okay, yeah. And then how long does that last? Because like I've been a medical member at a different place, and sometimes it would come up like they would say 30
a year?
No, it was way less than a year. It was like 60 days or 90 days, like that. How long does the Mendo one last?
It's really at the doctor's discretion. The majority of the medical documents that I would say over 90% are for 1 year. Okay. But we do have many medical documents from other clinics, other doctors, that were people who transfer over to us that are sometimes every month they need to be renewed, where the member has to be reassessed, or they want to do follow-ups, maybe because of other medications they take, or some type of medical history that they have, or 3 months or 6 months, or the average is 12 months.
Yeah, originally I had one for 6 months, and then they changed it and they bumped it up to something, or made it bigger and more 6 months later, but they wanted to see if that would fulfill.
Yeah, and they would only give like a certain amount.
But I also paid a lot of money. Like,
that was back in the day.
It was last year.
What? Okay.
So we shouldn't pay anymore.
Charge a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, why would you pay if you can go to Mendo?
Yeah, why would I pay if I can go to Mendo?
And you're going to get better prices.
Better price and better weed.
That's right.
So we interview a lot of people about like what is their top selling or what moves the most. And we keep hearing about shred. We keep hearing about the pre-ground. What do you know about that? And what do you think about that for the medical patients? Like,
so far from our experience, we found that medical patients prefer to have whole flower and not thread, or pre-ground. I won't use the brand name. Even pre-rolls. As we've seen in the rec market, people will be walking down the street. I'll just go run into a dispensary. I'll grab a pre-roll and walk out, and they do great. But with medical, we find patients are more interested in large format flower, and that's our best-selling product is the Mendo Select category on Mendo, which is the larger formats, the 14 and 28 gram increments. And you're going to find ounces on Mendo from $99 all the way, till $170.
Is that the most expensive one? $170?
I think right now the most expensive ounce deal we have is about $170. Yeah,
wow.
Is it
and we're very happy with that. And that's for some really, really high quality, 28%, 4% terp flower on average. So when you open up a bag of Mendo Select, that's something that I personally brought in, tested, curated, and we wouldn't put anything on there that we wouldn't smoke ourselves.
So you have I select what I want. I sign up. I got my stuff. Now, what are you doing? You're going to ship that to me in the mail, or it's a courier? How's that work?
So when you place an order on Mendo, all orders that are paid for and received before 10 a.m. Eastern time will ship out of our facility on the same day. We give free shipping options for orders over $150, and we give the options of Express Post and Pure Later Express for about $20 on the East Coast, and if it's going really far out west, $25. Something that we're working on to bring our pricing down on shipping. Shipping is extremely expensive. There are fuel surcharges now. The average package to ship out is well over $20, and that's a lot. For a company that's shipping hundreds and hundreds of packages a day. Margins are very thin in this industry. So that's why we've seen, how the money is managed and how certain things are achieved is what's going to allow us to be successful, where we've seen other companies falter in the past. But if you can provide that fast shipping and service and quality, we found the patients don't mind, and some of them will just want to spend that extra $20 to get it the next day. If they want the free shipping, it is available. And hopefully over the next few months, we'll be able to offer something similar to Prime shipping, where people can opt in for a yearly fee, and that will cover all their shipping costs and give them extra benefits to maybe, get drops earlier, a day earlier than everyone else, and things like that. We're just kind of looking at the logistics of it. But from the surveys we've put out, seems like a lot of people would be interested in something like that.
I was doing a little research, some more of my little private eye investigation stuff, and I had a lot of people. Somebody said like different types of stuff they've received from Mendo, and they named a lot of legacy brands. Like there was a sour diesel, California Orange, like different legacy type strains and brands. And so I could tell you're a real cannabis consumer, like that you enjoy cannabis by the things that people were telling me that are available at Mendo. You really have taken a lot of care.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the menu that we've put together. We've put together the best menu in Canada right now, whether it's a brick and mortar shop or a government shop in any province or city that you can name. We have done that because legalization has made it very difficult to get access to those products that aren't available in your province. And if I'm in Quebec and I want to order a Ghost Drops First Class Funk because it's my favorite strain. It happens to be my favorite strain, that particular strain from the legacy market. And it was something that, I was a consumer I was one of their clients, and to be able to have them on our site is almost like a dream come true for me. And being able to offer those products now to medical patients anywhere in the country, that's
to
making a
members,
difference.
to all the members of our community.
Yeah.
I like Mendo's club a lot better than some of the other clubs we've heard about.
Me too. Here I love them. This is an inside joke, but you know what? We're surrounded. I mean, weed is weed. Cannabis doesn't know that it has a dim number or a stamp or whatever, right? Like, but we're a business in the cannabis space, as you are, and there's so many corporate players and the corporate lingo and the corporate and it's really nice to, not that people aren't awesome. I agree. There's a lot of great people in the space, but some of the people come along with businesses that don't exactly align with what we think and feel about cannabis and the culture in the space. This is really, I feel Mendo is offering a real service to the community out of a passion for the community and cannabis.
After having this discussion, I'm like, why would you not
become
a member at Mendo? It would be like, there's no...
You're doing the right thing.
You're doing the right thing. It's helping the growers.
It's also cheaper if that's your
quality
thing.
Cannabis.
Quality cannabis.
You're getting it at a reasonable price. And it's
seamless and effortlessly.
Right.
Like, you don't have to go anywhere. You fill out the thing. It's not like...
Let me ask you a question. We were talking about the milled cannabis, and I was talking with some friends about it, and it's like when the medical first started, remember Health Canada would send it and it'd all be milled in a bag, this gold bag, and it was like everybody was like, this is garbage, where's the buds? And then now it's like funny because in the rec market, that milled cannabis, we don't need to name the brand, was one of the most searchable, up there with Ghost Drops. So in my mind now, when you're saying that Mendo, no, people want buds, I'm thinking that the people who really smoked cannabis before 2018 are all at Mendo. And this is the old school people who smoked cannabis. And the retail is kind of like more the new people, like, okay, hey, I just started in legalization.
Exactly.
So, oh yeah, that's cool. I want, because back in the day, I'm not going to smoke, first of all, I'm not going to smoke a pre-roll because I didn't see it rolled. Maybe what if someone laced something in there? I'm not doing that. And second, it's like, I don't want bud already ground up. I want to break the bud up in my hand myself and see what I'm doing and roll it. It's like a ritual. So yeah, can you let us know if your members is that where the
all the
old school
have
smokers have gone to?
It's pretty apparent that we have made progress in converting legacy consumers over to the regulated market, and I'll include medical in that term. Mm-hmm. And that's because of the menu that we have.
Right.
And that's what really brings people. And like you said we wanted Mendo to be, when you come on the website, within 1 minute, we want the person to feel, why wouldn't I sign up for this? There's no reason not to sign up for this.
So they're familiar with what they're seeing there.
All those medical patients, who wouldn't buy that ground or
garbage,
whoever garbage back in the day, where were they going for their cannabis? They may not have had a medical prescription.
Right.
But they were going to those legacy growers.
That's
and those
right.
legacy growers are now in the regulated market. And if they're available on Mendo, well, then that's great for everybody.
So do you, I'm going to check out your website and I'm going to become a member for sure. But do you kind of, when you get inside of where you can browse and all that, is it kind of like an old school mom where it's like, so that these legacy people are used to, when they're used to ordering, say, BC Bud, picking out the best stuff and it's coming shipped in the mail? Is that kind of the feel of the Mendo experience once you're on the inside?
A lot of people know this about me already, and I curated menus for many moms over the past 5 years. and work very closely with them. And if you go on to Mendo, I think that's the exact feel that you're going to find.
Wow,
I think
nice.
the Mendo site is going to feel exactly like a mom,
Right.
but with even more information and more data. And the amount of data and information that's going to be available to Mendo members soon and over the next coming months, by working closely with all the laboratories and compiling all this data, that if I'm looking for a flower that's high in myrcene and farnese, I know that this particular strain from the data that's written here is in the 99th percentile of all flower that's ever been tested in Canada for those two terpenes. So we're going to really change the way people purchase cannabis, because back in the day, you know, guys, how did you choose? How did you know if it was something you'd like? You'd open it up and you smell it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no smell-o-vision yet available on Mendo, but the next best thing is showing what's to look for and why this particular flower is of higher quality than something else. And the data is going to show why.
Do you guys have a big Reddit? You know, because like that's how I would tell usually, like say I'm going to order from a mom, going to look on Reddit, make sure that, hey, they're shipping, nothing's been happening. And then what's fire, you know, and then I'll say, okay, let me order that. So do you have a good you mentioned Discord, but I'm wondering if you have a big Reddit community too.
I think I lost more sleep our first week opened, worrying about how Reddit was going to review us than anyone else. And Reddit loves us. And if Reddit loves you, you're doing something right.
That's right.
So if, you know, daily on the Canadian LP's subreddit, which is the largest subreddit for Canadian LPs that people talk about medical and recreational as well, you'll see, you know, 3 or 4 posts a day from people showing off their products from Mendo and reviewing it and talking about it. And that's that sense of community that we're going back to, right?
Yep.
So, you know, there's a lot of medical patients who are part of our compassion program, and we can talk about that in a moment also, who kind of wait for those reviews to come out before they spend their hard-earned money. So Reddit is really what's helped Mendo grow. Mendo has never spent $1 on advertising or never did any public advertising to date. It's all been organic, word of mouth growth. We're in a hyper growth stage now because of the acquisition of the shelter and Canmart patients. And when people are coming over to us and then signing up, they're telling all their friends, hey, come and join us here. And then those friends sign up, and that's what's really happening right now. It's all about that quality of care and pricing and the variety of products that we offer.
Word on the street is all good, and I'm a bloodhound for gossip.
We're not perfect. We're not perfect, and we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be a bag of moldy weed sold at some point between now and the end of time from Mendo. There's no way that I can make sure that never ever happens.
Right.
But people know is that if anything comes that's not satisfactory, we fix it. We make it right. We don't ignore you. We get back to you immediately, and we'll take care of this. Sometimes people are almost so surprised that we got back to them so fast and just did a replacement on the spot. That's the way that it should be. This is your medicine. And again, we take that very seriously.
Yeah, sometimes I'd have stuff, it gets lost in the mail. You know what I'm saying? But then the best moms always do a replacement right away. Right away.
Yeah, and we'll treat it the exact same way. You
touched on your compassionate care?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we offer compassion pricing to members over the age of 65, those that earn less than $30,000 per year, those that sometimes just reach out to us for help, you know, and really don't have any documentation or anything that goes along with it. People on disability and frontline workers and nurses and people in law enforcement and veterans who may not are part of the Veterans Affairs program. And launching very soon, we will offer direct billing to veterans. We've just recently got approved by the Blue Cross, RLP, to be able to offer direct billing, where veterans who have their proper license can come onto Mendo and get their products, and it's shipped without any cost to them. And then we collect later on from the insurance.
Do you screen the law enforcement you give the discount to make sure they've never been on a cannabis raid? Because, you know.
I wish I could.
So do we.
All I
Sorry.
know is that when my house is being robbed and I call 911, I'd like to know someone's coming. And so far, they've been good for us.
Yeah, that's true, right? I call 911, someone's coming.
Not
I
about
call 911, I hide all the weed. Pardon?
no, nothing.
Like, isn't this, I don't know. We've had a day. So this is a great talk. This brings us back to
We're having the
why,
best time. We're just getting started here.
like why we're so interested in the cannabis space and the community and the culture of cannabis. I mean, helping patients and doing the right thing. Doing the right thing doesn't always mean you're going to be a millionaire next Tuesday. Sometimes, and the cannabis space is so difficult, and within compliance, especially in Quebec, whoa, you guys have it's the Wild West in Alberta. Ontario's getting there, but Quebec has the hardest. I mean, with your regulations and compliance, and it's been really tough. What's something most challenging to you?
Medical is governed by federal law. So Quebec, if they tried to come down on us or, pulled our recreational stuff off the stores because they felt like we were competing with them, not that we are, that would make some news story. I'd love for them to try, to be honest with you. But we really, we're doing things, obviously by the book, as it should be. But we're doing things differently than it's been done before.
Better.
And that's because we're cannabis people. We're cannabis people at heart. We understand the culture. We understand the community. And that's how it's allowed us to, build this menu. Because if you don't have your finger on the cannabis community and know what people want, but more importantly, know what they don't want,
Right.
then it's very difficult to satisfy the market, and the market is insatiable. The market is always changing, right? Certain strains have certain shelf lives, and people try certain things to try to dial in that effect. And I'm sure each of you has 5 different strains at home for 5 different feelings that you're trying to achieve. I know I have one that helps me sleep, and one where I can sit with my wife and watch a movie and not pass out, and one to do an interview like this.
What strain is that? Because I always tend to pass out.
What strain is
I
the
press
one?
play on the movie, and the next thing is like,
Right now, that's the Z Splitter.
Okay.
Ghost Drop Z Splitter.
For a movie, I am just going to be, I'm going to be nice and buzzed for the whole movie, and I'm not going to pass out in the end.
Z Splitter. Everyone...
Otherwise, I get that elbow from
right. Exactly. Again. What is your view on irradiation?
Oh, Derek.
Excellent question. We will not sell irradiated flower on Mendo.
Wow, I like
if
that.
The LP is not skilled enough to be able to harvest and cure and dry and trim their flower without the risk of mold, then they're not the right grower for Mendo.
So the industry doesn't give a lot of voices and opinions like this a lot of airtime. I'm seeing, for real, your tone, your message, your passion, your education, your whys. We travel around a lot. I'm at a lot of conferences and I listen to speakers relentlessly, like ad nauseum. And I don't hear a lot of this, what you're saying. I don't. You're kind, but you have a very firm stand on what you believe should be more, present in the market and available, and the choices and the things. And I don't know.
Here's a sound bite from the chief operating officer of an LP. We're not fucking around. Okay? We take this very seriously. The LPs that are out there that are not providing the quality products are not going to make it onto Mendo. And, we give almost everybody a chance. But if your certificate of analysis, if the way that you speak about cannabis and the way that you speak about how you're handling your recreational business does not align with what we feel is best for our medical patients, then your products are not going to make it onto our shelves. Our intention is to be the large distributor of medical cannabis in Canada. We want to do that for a variety of reasons. And the first reason is the quality of care of the patients, because that's what's always come first with us. And I hope that more other medical companies come along and do the exact same thing. There's plenty of room for us all to flourish. Mendo's not trying to be the only one.
Right.
Yeah, we know some guys who are from Green Valley Wellness. They're doing some things similar. But
I'd
the
like to also
Mendo,
give a shout out to Hybrid Farms
I
around
love
from your
Hybrid
area.
Farms.
Amazing people. Alex and his team are doing fantastic work for medical patients. We hope to work closely with them in the future as well.
yeah,
There are a few that are really, like you said.
yeah, but I've never heard anything like this. I love this. This is what basically it's like. To me, it's like
we don't have to fit into any sort of whatever.
It's what I'm used to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels like now
it feels
it's
like
not.
home.
I'm not. Yes, I don't have to worry about the regulation of this. It's just like, this is what I'm used to,
right?
And now I can get it in the legal market, which is perfect. So it's I love it. Let me ask you this question. So you're from Quebec. So what is the extracts like on Mendo? Because Quebec is a big hash, an extract province. So how is that?
Now, due to the regulations in Quebec, in the recreational market, that hash that Quebecers love so much cannot have a higher THC content than 30%.
Oh.
When your average street hash is about 60%. So what are companies doing is that they're mixing in CBD to bring down the THC levels, kind of watering down the wine a little bit. Some of them are doing it better than others. Canara is doing fantastic work with their nugs and their old school hash and their freshwater hash, their ice water hash rather. That's fantastic. Do they wish that they could produce it over 30%? Yes, they could. Are they making the best hash possible under 30%? Yes, they are.
I don't settle.
So Mendo has been able to, select, from all the best hash makers from across the country, all the best extractors. And now those are available not only in Quebec, it's available nationwide on Mendo, but we've seen the Quebec medical community really start understanding what extracts are now. They never really had access to them before. So we see people starting to sprinkle a crumble in a joint and getting used to it, getting vaporizer pens like a Yocan Plus, and then, upgrading. Not everyone is ready for a mothership and a blazer torch, right? But now with Puffco Peaks and G-Pen Roams and Connects and all these smart devices where people can, just grab that extract and, put it in there and hit the button and hit it, then yeah, that's we're really, really happy about that. So we have a huge extract selection right now from various different companies, everything from, a $25 crumble shatter all the way up to a $90 90U single source fresh frozen live rosin.
Do you like live rosin?
Yeah, I like live rosin. I think that's going to be the
future.
Yes,
more of it.
Because why? I don't want to use some form of solvent to extract. And once they have perfected the cartridges for that, I think that's going to take over. The fresh frozen live rosin.
What's your take on the vapes? We had the vape crisis 2 years ago, and vapes have sort of come back and forth. And then some people are like, no, absolutely not. Never recovered from that. What do you think of vapes?
I love vapes. I think they're versatile. I think that they have a place in medical cannabis as well as recreational. I think there's a lot of great companies doing things. I think there's a lot of work to do still.
Right.
In terms of the oil that's on there, in the descriptions and traceability on what exactly it is that I'm consuming. So, if I get a vape pen and all that it says is cannabis oil on the package, like used to, well, what kind of cannabis oil? Is it distillate?
Right.
Is it CO2? Is it a live resin? I mean, what is it?
Now
I want
talking.
to know. I think distillate has a place in the community.
Right.
Distillate gets a bad term. You hear of hot dog water and you hear of all these things. When you get a 99% pure distillate, with cannabis-derived terpenes reintroduced or botanical terpenes, that again has a place in the community. And I'll tell you why. THC on its own, is just one of the cannabinoids. And we can talk hours about this. And this is Derek's. I already see Derek has his opinions on distillate. for certain patients, and I can't give medical advice, but there are certain treatments that a THC, high THC content, like a distillate, there's a place for that in their regimen. I personally still love a lot of legacy extractors. Live resin out there. Live resin is a very difficult product to produce well. That doesn't crystallize inside the cartridge. And right now, one of the companies that's producing one of the best, and the company that's very near and dear to my heart, is a company called Greybeard. I think we may have heard of that
Greybeard
news recently.
Yeah, they were just in something with Aurora today. Thrive and Aurora. That's Greybeard, right?
Thrive is taking control of all of Aurora's rec brands. Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
Thrive is a company of bootstrap people from Simcoe, that had a dream of building this brand, and they did it. And they did it by building relationships with the community, with the bud tenders. If you know Bubba Nicholson's story, you can see his travels and
we
what
went to high school together.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Before I was with Mendo, I had a company that was called Untethered Brands, and Untethered Brands represented legacy growers and extractors, and we were able to connect Thrive and Greybeard with their now head extractor, Matt Pridham, who is a wonderful person and a wonderful extractor, and that's something that I'm really proud of, because we were able to place a lot of good people with LPs that are now doing some really great things in this industry.
See what he just did? Yeah, added to the community, the culture, bringing with it.
It sounds a lot like Ghost Drop.
We got to talk when we get off this interview. We got some repositioning to do.
It sounds a lot Travis from Ghost Drop. You know what I mean? About helping, getting...
opening the door,
not just for them, but for everybody else, and getting all of these legacy guys situated. And it's
remember he said, there's no joke here, no secret. We're drug dealers. We sell drugs. We want to take care of our community and our culture. The people that are good to us, we're good to them. Why wouldn't we give the best to our community? And the community is big enough and strong enough to support us all.
And expose that talent. There's people who have talent, and
there's all these ridiculous barriers that the government created for the real, like the rock stars in the industry are not allowed to be players in it.
Right.
It just is ridiculous to me. And that's what we're talking about. You're bringing them all up. We're bringing them together. You're meeting them. Now Thrive is going to support them all and do well. And Mendo's supporting them and doing them. Well, Ghost Drops. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And, Mendo wants to support all those brands. And, me personally, I want to see them succeed. Nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing that announcement yesterday.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to pull everybody up so that, they can't target someone. You don't want to be the only one. Then someone's going to swing a sword and cut your head off.
It's funny because we're talking to Mendo and we're talking to Ghost Drops, and we have a residency at Sticky Nugs, who Sam, who owns Sticky Nugs, Sam supports Sticky Nugs, is on Fort Yorks in Toronto. I don't know if you know him or if you've seen, we've been doing these pop-ups, his residency there. He also, anyone like that has made the transition to legal, like you've gone through the process, and whether you're the littlest tiny guy, you got 1 or you got 7 SKU, whatever it is, he welcomes you to his store. He puts you on the shelf. He'll help you, because he truly believes in the community and the cannabis culture.
We need more of that. We need more of that because there's a lot of LPs really struggling out there, and Mendo can't help them all.
Right.
There's just so many wonderful LPs that are growing super craft fine cannabis that never makes it to market because they don't have their sales license yet, or their packaging deal fell through, or they don't have the working capital to keep everything going until those government shops end up paying them. Very, very difficult in this industry for a grower. Very, very difficult to stay in business, and even more difficult to be profitable.
The fees are astronomical, and we've heard that a million times. And then it really the only people that will, the only ones that will survive is the big corporate giants. Unless we're making, growing this, keeping this community solid and strong and celebrating it and helping it grow and we need to support and collaborate and not be in competition.
We have to support each other. We can't build ourselves up by bringing other people down. If you do that, you're a sucker.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good talk with Jay Mendo. How do we website, give us your website or socials.
Thanks. The website is mendocannabis.ca. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Mendo Medical. I'm at Mendo J on Instagram. You guys can reach out to me by DM. I answer them all. On Reddit, I answer all those questions as well. It's my pleasure talking with you guys. Reach out to me. Let's talk cannabis. We're here to support you.
For sure.
Well, I'm definitely signing up.
Because, we have to get Mendo to come to our conference in June.
Yeah, I'm coming down. I got to meet you guys in person. We need to. Maybe
there's some sort of activation.
We need to do some sensory and palatability tests together. Let's just see.
We need to do some sensory and palatability tests. Yes, we do, Jay.
So the next time we'll be in studio, so we won't have that delay and be clashing. Yeah. But I love what Mendo's doing. This is really great. I'm definitely going to be signing up. I think our viewers should be signing up to this and supporting Mendo and letting them grow and curate the best cannabis and help the growers. I mean, the fact that you guys will not accept irradiated weed on your platform, that alone, everybody should be signing up.
That's a given.
Yeah. That's a given. Like, it's just, see, there's some barriers and and they're figuring it out. I wish there was more of us doing this. And again, I take us back to everything's about money, but it's not all about money. If we're doing the right thing and we're doing with good people, it will come. It might not come yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mendo Jay from Mendo Medical on the Green Room. Thanks for joining us today. That was a really great talk. I look forward to sharing this.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jay.
Guys. Yeah, thanks. I had a great time. Thanks so much.
We're always fresh and a little bit sticky. The Green Room on Cannabis Wiki.